accessing 2D array using pointers. Before we go to 2D array, let us see how one-dimensional array, 1D array works. Suppose that this is an array of integers. We have a declaration of the type integer m5. Five elements of the type integer, and the various elements are first element, second element, third element, fourth element, and fifth element. Index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 elements. Name of the array is m. Suppose that we have elements entered as 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the elements. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The name of the array m is equals to ampersand of m0. What does this mean? It means that m holds the address of the first byte or first element, holds the address of first element of the array, first element of the array. If suppose this address is 100, then next address will be 104, third one will be 108, fourth one will be 112, and fifth one will be 160, assuming integer takes 4 bytes. To access elements of the array m, we can do two different things. First one, to use the index of the variables or index of the elements. For example, mi, where m varies from I varies from 0, I less than 5, and I plus plus. And if I write this mi, that means, or if I write down say printf percentage d mi, then it will print all the elements of the array. Similarly, if we want to use a pointer to access these elements, what we can do, we can write down the same for loop. I is equals to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, and within this what we can write, printf percentage d, same as the previous one. However, we'll write here star of m plus i. This statement will print the all elements of the array, means both the loops will print the elements of the array. In the first one, we are using the index of variables or index of elements, and here we are using pointers to access elements of the array. This way we can access elements of a 1D array using a pointer, using pointers. Now let us see how can we use the same concept to access elements in a 2D array. For that, let us suppose that we have a 2D array declared as a 3, 3. It means that it has 9 elements and 3 by 3 matrix or 3 by 3 array. Let us put elements here in this array. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. And name of the OD array is A. And suppose we have some elements given here: 4, 6, 7, 9, 8, 5, 2, 3, 1. These are the elements in the array. And now if we split this array, we can represent the array like this element or this row. This row may be represented as A0. This may be represented as A0. Second row may be represented as A1, and third row may be represented as A2. If we split it, then it will look like A0, where A0 is the name of the array. Similarly, A2, A1 is the name of the array, and A2 is the name of the third array. And the elements will be 4, 6, 7, 9, 8, 5, and 2, 3, 1. Now let us say A0 is equals to A, capital A, or let us say A0 equals to X, A1 equals to Y, and A2 is equals to G. That means this can be represented as X, where we have elements 4, 6, and 7. We have Y, where the elements are 9, 8, and 5, and Z, where elements are 2, 3, and 1. Now we have 3 single-dimensional arrays. If I want to access these elements using pointers, then I have to write star x plus I, and I varies from 0 to I less than 3, I plus plus. This statement will, if I write printf statement, then this one will print all elements of X. The same thing can be repeated here for I is equals to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. Same thing here, star of, but this time it will be Y plus I, and for this I is equals to 0, I less than 3. Loop is same, only variation is variable Y, X, Y, and Z. I plus plus, then within this I'll write star of Z plus I. So these 3 loops will print individual arrays using pointers that we have seen in our previous discussion. Now if I see here X is equals to A, if I remember, X is equals to A of 0, Y is equals to A of 1, and G is equals to A of 2. If this is the case, then that can be represented as star of A plus 0, then second one is star of A plus 1, and third one is star of A plus 2. So if we combine all these 3 statements with the loop given here, and here, so what we can do, we can write a for loop which will be vary. Let us suppose that if this is I, then this is j is equals to 0, j is again less than 3, j plus plus. Within this I will write this statement, this for I is equals to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. Then what I will do, first of all I will write down star a plus j, then plus this one will be replaced by this statement, this part a, and after that I will put I and I will put one star here. So if I do this, and this loop will have this statement only. So this statement will mean, it actually represents the elements of the 2D array. So this multidimensional or two-dimensional array here can be represented as collection of one-dimensional arrays, and first row is represented as a0, that we have seen that one, a1, a2, and these are the columns 0, 1 and 2. I'm considering 3 by 3 matrix or 2D array of 3 cross 3. And if we want to, again let me write down the loop, what I can do, I should have one outer for loop starting from 0, then less than number of rows, here number of rows are 3, and I plus plus. Within that we will write another for loop, j controlled by j, 0, j is less than 3 because number of columns are again 3, j plus plus. And what I will do here, I will write down this for loop will end here, printf format specifier will be %d since it is integer. So what I will do, I will extract the row a plus I star, then I will extract column elements and I will put star here. So if I do this, this ends here, this ends here, and this one ends here. If I do this, then it will print all the elements which is stored in this array. So this is the way that we can retrieve elements or print elements of a 2D array using pointer. Now here, what is a? A is declared as integer a 3 rows 3 columns. So a is a pointer, a is a pointer that points to this array, a. So this a, if I say the address of a or the value of a, actually this a is equals to ampersand of a00. This is the address, and the address of this byte will be stored in this variable. Now we will see with the help of a program how to extract elements using pointers. Include std h, then teacher name, end of name, and let me declare one integer array here, integer a 3 by 3 for simplicity. We enter few values 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 4, then 5 comma 6 comma 7, and 1 comma 8 comma 9. Let us suppose that these are the 9 elements. Then I will write a loop, for loop, for integer I equals to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus, and then I'll write one more for loop inside this for integer j equals to 0, j plus plus, j less than 3, j plus plus, and within this I will write down printf percentage d, then star a plus I, then plus j. Okay, so let me give some space here. 1 2 1 2. This one is closed here, this one is closed here, this one is just fine. Then printf the new line character semicolon. That's all. Okay, so if I compile this code, then it will give the elements which is printed here, which is available here, right? So that way I can print variables of the 2D array A using pointers. Here 2 pointers are used, and one is to access the row, another is to access the columns. if I want to access the element 4 using a pointer, then I have to tell the compiler as x0, it is equivalent to star of x plus 0. Second element will be star of x plus 1, and third element will be star of x plus 2. Similarly, we can also access the elements of y as star of y plus 0, star of y plus 1, and star of y plus 2. If the same thing, now if we replace star of x plus 0, if I write down as star of x is nothing but a 0 plus 0, and if I do access the same thing using a pointer for a, what I have to do, I have to write star a plus 0 plus 0. Similarly, the other elements could be retrieved as star of a plus 0 plus 1, that will give you this element, and this element could be retrieved as star of a plus 0 plus 2. Okay, and if I go to this one, then that can be done with x, and this is star a plus 1 plus 0. Similarly, the second one element will be star of a plus 1 plus 1, and third one will be star of a plus 1 plus 2. So if we do that, then we can write a generalized for loop in order to access it. What I have to do in order to access it, I have to write down as star of x plus I plus j, where in this loop it will be from j equals to 0, j is less than 3, j plus plus, and above it will be for I equals to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. If I write down these two loops, inner loop and outer loop, then the elements of the two-dimensional array would be retrieved using a pointer.